You're about to feel very powerless, because after watching 134 serial killer movies, today I'm gonna introduce you to 11 deadly killers that you have zero chance surviving. You don't need to know any of these killers ahead of time. I'll provide you the full context of each one and why they demolish every single one of you. I've divided the killers into 4 special categories based on their technique. Let's start off with file number 1, the Detached Killers. Coming into this video, you probably thought you'd be surviving against some psycho with a knife, so then at least you'd know who to look out for. But what if the serial killer stays hidden the entire time and instead sends other people to hunt you down? That's exactly what Red John did in The Mentalist. For 6 seasons straight, Red John haunted the FBI like a ghost, leaving his smiley mark beside every single victim, but never once showing his face. So you wonder, how did he kill hundreds and hundreds of people? He didn't. Instead, he had a cult following of thousands of people, and they were the ones executing the murders. Red John was simply the puppet master organizing the kills.
I built a secret empire. I control the lives of thousands of people. My word is life and death, and nobody knows who I am.
So if he comes after you, how are you going to defend yourself? You don't know what any of his servants look like. And the worst part is, they will do literally anything for him.
You will have the honor of dying as a sacrifice to the Holy Master, Red John.
In the ending of season 5, one of his servants went to deliver something to the detectives, just to further provoke them. But before these detectives could get any info out of her, she says the words,
"I'm done talking,"
proceeding to quietly end her life on the car ride home shortly after. Because it literally highlights how the servants just belong to him, like dispensable robots. They don't have their own say, their own opinions, their choices, which means when they come to eventually kill you, they will accomplish that task at any cost, even if that cost is their own lives. If that sentence itself doesn't scare you, then you didn't understand the strategy. Red John is a fearsome killer that will remain alone in file 1, because he is truly one of the only detached killers in all of television. But if we now move on to file number 2, the Deceptive Killers, we're now talking about a whole new kind of threat. We're talking about killers who, unlike Red John, will actually kill you with their bare hands, and still you won't see it coming. And do you want to know why that is? Occupation. That's how. Imagine you're living in your peaceful town, and a police officer warns you about a potential threat in your neighborhood. So eventually, you invite them in to speak with you about this concerning matter, not realizing you have invited in the threat itself. You have invited in the serial killer. That's exactly the plot of this movie named Summer of '84. This seemingly friendly cop actually murders people in his basement, but no one ever suspects him because he's a cop. Which means if he wanted to kill you, he could do it in so many different ways. First, he could straight up walk into your house using his authority, or wave around his badge a little bit, make up some reasoning, and then once he enters, now you're officially dead. Second, even if you catch on to him, you must understand this man has access to police database. So he knows exactly where you live, where you work, what routes you take, which means he's not chasing you, he's circling you. All of that results in a scary reality where you are genuinely unsafe anywhere you go. Tell me, what are you gonna do about that? Nothing. This type of deception follows in an even more terrifying way in The Orphan. Imagine your parents feel a little lonely, so they choose to adopt a foster child named Esther, adopting her in hopes of brightening up your humble home. Unfortunately for this household, this child is actually 33 years old, and she won't be brightening anything up because she'll be too busy killing every single person in the household, one by one by one. Welcome to the plot of the Orphan franchise. If you live in this home, your chances of survival are next to nothing, because you would never suspect a 12-year-old girl to be a reasonable threat. It literally won't cross your mind. This false security allows Esther to strategize her plans and then work her way towards ending every single person without laying a hand on anyone. Because out of all the deceptive killers, this one kills you by accident. Oops, you're in the car by yourself. Let's hope it doesn't start reversing by itself. Oops, you're in the treehouse with Esther. Let's hope it doesn't combust into flames. This is how unpowered you are against her. And the fact that you'll be living in the same house as her, there are so many possible potential opportunities she can create throughout her day. Even if you pretend you are somehow a genius and you catch on to the fact that she's actually a killer, what are you gonna do about it? Are you seriously gonna touch a 12-year-old girl? No. Are you gonna yell at a 12-year-old? No, not unless you want to look like a lunatic like the mother did when she started suspecting Esther. In fact, the mother's suspicions were deemed so foul that everyone around her, even her husband, started calling her crazy for this, for thinking a 12-year-old could be behind any of this.
But you have to believe me.
I don't.
You have to believe me, John. You have to trust me on this.
I'll give you a week to go to rehab.
And of course, no one ever believed her until it was all too late, and the house eventually burns down into flames. But now, I want to take things to an intimate level. Let's get really close. How much do you trust the people you love? Because I know about a killer who will fake her entire personality, her looks, her lifestyle, just to attract you.
Nick loved a girl I was pretending to be.
And after years of building a committed relationship, there will be one specific night, no one knows which night, where she will kill you during intercourse. And that's simply the end. The killer I'm referring to is Amy Dunne, who did something very similar to this in the original movie named Gone Girl. I've mentioned her in a few videos before because her deception is so profoundly powerful. Because the other deceptive killers, they deceive you because of their occupation, their age. But Amy, she deceives you because you are in love with her for years, and still you don't know who she actually is. So if she wants you dead, all she does is become the perfect girl for you, and several years down your happy life, when your guard has been permanently broken down, she will then come out and strike at your most vulnerable moment. And you know the very interesting part? This formula is actually so successful that there are actually multiple female killers that use this exact same strategy when executing their kills. But you know what? Let's pretend you are undeceivable. You cannot be fooled by a single person. Well then now, I'll have to present you file number 3, the Disciplined Killers. Maybe the most exciting category, because these killers don't need to use any mind games. They are simply that good at murder. Let's start strong with the serial killer from the Poughkeepsie tapes, Ed Carver. Genuinely one of the most disturbing men I've watched on TV, and you guys know I've watched a lot of serial killer TV. And the reason he's so disturbing is one very specific scene you're about to watch. The scene known as the closet scene. To give you some context on how we got here, Ed Carver goes around killing and then documenting the hundreds of women he's killed, keeping the footage on these haunting tapes. And on this particular night, his target is this woman that has just left her shower. And as you notice several seconds earlier, we actually see the killer run into the closet right behind her, which would give him a perfect opportunity to strike and finish his kill. Typically, if your target is this reachable, most killers would probably leap out of the closet and go for the kill here. But they'd be going for a kill that isn't guaranteed. So instead, we see Ed Carver do this. Waiting until nighttime in that very closet, so he can later strike in a darker environment where the attack is even more unsuspecting. That is the level of perfection Ed Carver strives for. I want you to really notice the star factor behind him is the dedication that he was actually able to wait this long. Typical serial killers have a level of impulse in them that won't allow them to wait this patiently, which leads to many cases where the kills are sloppy, dangerous, rushed. But a man that can be this composed is a man that is truly undetectable.
There is almost nothing left of the impulsiveness he displayed with Jennifer Gorman. Here is a man who's figured out he's good at something.
If he wants to kill you, you best believe it will be at a time you will not expect, because he has waited for that time for days, maybe even weeks, just lurking, following your every single move. You know the really scary part? If you thought this killer was dedicated, I want to introduce you to Villanelle, the best woman assassin to ever touch television. She was so fearsome to the point where other killers had this reaction even hearing her name.
The demon with no face.
Do you guys want to know why she's so good? She's so good because she is everywhere. She'll become your car washer and kill you during your car wash. Or she'll become your doctor and end you during your checkup. What are you supposed to do about a killer whose strategy revolves around becoming different people and using that to create an opening? If I want to survive against her, I now can't trust anyone around me. Definitely not my doctor or any other people of service. And that's simply an impossible way to live my life, leaving her with a foolproof strategy.
Oh, don't get me excited.
I'm sorry.
Did I also mention she has access to all your information thanks to her Russian organization? Good luck. Good luck. Before we move on to the last file of killers, which includes the deadliest people of all time, I want to also include Dexter Morgan, because he is such a rare phenomenon. He is a man that fits into both the deceptive and disciplined killer categories. When speaking on the deceptive part, just like Summer of '84, Dexter's day job is at the Miami Police Department, working as a well-respected forensics expert. Automatically, this gives him a level of establishment where people wouldn't even dare think that he's the type to kill someone. To other people, he's seen as a loving family man or the nerdy coworker. But here's the catch. Not only does no one suspect him, nobody even sees him until it's too late. If you are one of his victims, before you even think to turn around, there is a sedative stuck deep inside your neck, putting you to sleep instantly. And of course, when you eventually wake up, you will already be tied to your death. This leaves literally no room for error. Unlike several killers out there who end up running after their victims, having to go back and forth, even fighting their victims, all that struggle is skipped over due to his sedatives. There is no reality where you somehow outpower him or outmaneuver him. You will be on the floor within 2 seconds. And unlucky for you, that means there is nothing you can do to prevent this, besides the fact that you can subscribe to my channel. Now, if you want to get really technical, there is a world where you give yourself maybe a 1% chance at survival because you get lucky. Maybe the killer trips. Maybe while they're attacking you, their hand gets caught on a rope that pulls them up, cuts off their hand, and then throws them overboard. Just the most bizarre situation that somehow helps you survive these killers we've talked about. Well, in that case, let me now present you the final category of killers, the demonic killers. These are the killers that cannot be harmed in any extent because they are simply immortal. The absolute best example of this is Michael Myers from the Halloween franchise. A man that displays a god level of strength. Whether it's him picking up a girl with his knife using one hand, or it's him jamming his thumb into somebody's skull with pure ease. These are all things that highlight the fact that Michael Myers himself is the weapon. But fine, if that level of strength isn't enough, I'll make it even crazier. What about the fact he can get shot multiple times over and over and over again without taking any real damage? Even if we take away the guns, things actually start to look even crazier. In Halloween 4, there's a specific moment where we actually see a human try and fight Michael Myers, trying to fight him head on in a one-on-one. And of course, the result, just watch the clip. This level of strength and durability will ensure that anyone he goes after will end up dead. There is no hiding from this. There is no fighting back. Who could you possibly call to protect you from somebody like this? It's a very harsh question, but at least we know Michael Myers will make it a quick death for you. Unlike our next demonic killer, Art the Clown. Someone who sort of breaks every single rule of a good serial killer. He's impulsive, he's sloppy, he's careless, even showing himself to the victim long before he strikes. But here's the thing, what are you gonna do about it? He will remain this way and still chase you down and murder you in the most grotesque, gory ways you've ever seen on television. And the reason behind that is because he is also an unkillable force. In fact, at the end of Terrifier 1, after he runs over his victim and even starts to eat her face off, he actually decides to help humanity and shoot himself in the face. An action that would cause an instant death for every single person in the world. But of course, minutes later in the morgue, we see him casually rise from the dead. A very similar type of resurrection that also occurs with Michael Myers. The truth is, if we can't kill the thing, we can't survive the thing. Which is why these are the final killers in this completed list of all the killers that would guaranteed take our lives. I know this is very depressing, so to cheer you guys up, if you want to see a video where I talk about why Dexter Morgan wouldn't survive most female killers, you can actually click this video right here, and also make sure you subscribe so I can see you next week. Deuces!